It was a cold autumn evening when 5 friends, Emma, Luke, Sarah, Jason, and Mia, decided to spend a weekend at a secluded cabin deep in the woods. They had heard rumors about strange happenings in the area, but they laughed it off as just local folklore. After all, they wanted a break from the stresses of city life, and a quiet retreat sounded perfect. The cabin was old, but cozy. It creaked as they walked across the wooden floors, and the wind outside howled through the trees. A large stone fireplace provided warmth as the group settled in for the evening, telling ghost stories and roasting marshmallows. Hours passed, and as the night grew darker, the atmosphere shifted. Suddenly, there was a sharp knock at the door. Jason, being the bravest of the group, went to open it. He swung the door wide but found nothing, just the dense, silent forest stretching into darkness. "Probably just the wind," he said with a nervous chuckle, but when he turned back to the group, the lights flickered ominously. "Maybe we should head to bed," Sarah suggested, clearly unnerved. The group agreed, and one by one, they retired to their rooms. Mia couldn't sleep. The uneasy feeling from earlier had settled deep into her bones. As she lay in bed, she heard soft footsteps creaking outside her door. "Jason, Luke," she whispered, but no one responded. The door creaked open slowly, revealing nothing but the shadowy hallway. Panicking, Mia rushed out to wake the others. "Something's wrong," she cried, shaking them awake. Groggy and confused, the group gathered in the living room. "Did you hear that?" she asked. Just then, the sound of whispers filled the cabin. It was faint, like a distant conversation in an unknown language. The voices seemed to come from the walls themselves, growing louder and louder, until they were almost deafening. Luke grabbed a flashlight and said, "We need to leave. Now." As they packed their things in a hurry, Emma noticed a dusty old book on the shelf that hadn't been there earlier. Intrigued, she flipped it open to a page filled with strange symbols. "Guys, this looks old, really old," she said. Her voice trembled as she realized the whispers grew louder every time she touched the book. Suddenly, the front door slammed shut with a force that shook the entire cabin. The windows rattled, and the temperature dropped instantly, turning their breath into misty puffs. Something was in the cabin with them, unseen but undeniably there. The lights flickered out, plunging them into total darkness. The only sound was the frantic beating of their hearts and the eerie whispers, now so close it felt like the voices were right behind them. Then, out of the silence, came a low growl. Luke's flashlight flickered back to life just long enough for them to see a figure, tall, gaunt, and cloaked in shadow, standing in the doorway. The whispers stopped. "Run!" Jason shouted, and they bolted for the back door, but it wouldn't budge. Emma screamed as the figure slowly advanced, its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. In a last desperate move, Luke grabbed the ancient book from Emma's hands and threw it into the fireplace. The flames roared to life, engulfing the book in an instant. As the pages curled and burned, the figure let out an unearthly scream, and the cabin shook violently. The air was filled with a suffocating pressure, and then, silence. The cabin stood still. The figure was gone. The whispers ceased. Shaken and trembling, the friends left the cabin without looking back, running through the forest until they reached their car. They never spoke of what happened that night again, but each of them knew there was something in that cabin, something ancient and evil. And it was still waiting for the next group of unsuspecting visitors.